we're desensitizing the crowd to constantly expect crazy stuff instead of building something that you do something crazy, something incredible, and the crowd just goes, huh, all right, that was all right. Next. Who's next? What else you got?
Hello and welcome to Sportskeeda Wrestling. I am speaking to Ricardo Rodriguez or Jesus Rodriguez or whichever name you may know him by. He's one of the most familiar faces to all WWE fans, obviously as Ricardo Rodriguez. But he is also lighting it up on the independent circuit right now, one of the busiest people out there. I am also proud to report, as a person that knows him personally, that he is a man who struggled with addiction. He fought his demons and now he's come out stronger. How are you doing, my friend?
First of all, Donovan, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, I'm here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at the moment, and like you said, yeah, I mean, we everybody has their own kind of demons and their own kind of issues, and then they have they have different names, but ultimately it's the same internal battle, and it's always with yourself. But thankfully, the last couple of months, I've gone out, I've gotten help, and all these months later, I'm still going strong. I'm working on myself every day, because this is not something that you just fix automatically. It's an ongoing struggle, and then you battle this demon every single day. So here we are, and I'm happy that I'm here. I'm healthy, and I have a very clear mind going forward.
So you said you're an open book. So let me bring it up. When was the point that you realized that you needed help and you had to go out and get help?
I think realizing that I needed help was very early. The ultimate battle for the longest was with my ego, that I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody. I can do this. I can handle this. I know how to fix myself. And then basically get mad at everybody who tried to offer help. So the battle itself was not realizing I needed help, was realizing that I could not do this by myself. That to me was my ultimate battle. It was against my ego. And like I said, ultimately that's a big problem with a lot of people, is that constant fight with yourself. That we sometimes we think that we're stronger than we really are, when in reality we're not. This is not something that we can do by ourselves. And even now that I've been offered a way to how to get better, I still understand that I cannot do this by myself, that there is something that's bigger than me, that I need to ask for help for that. So I want to say, because this is the second time that I do this. The first time I basically did it by myself, almost. And I went about a little over a year and something, a couple months, where I was able to do it by myself. But then, I fell again. And this time around, I actually went through the whole process. I went to a rehab center. I'm attending meetings. I'm about to complete 4 months in a couple of days. And I feel now that I have guidance. So I have people that are around me. I have a very strong support system. I'm very happy with my sponsor, with the circle of friends that I have here, that are helping. So yeah, and ultimately I had to change myself, the way that I think, to be more mindful of everything around me, and not just focus on one thing, because I had such a clear line of sight. It was kind of almost like when those horses have those blinders, so they only see one way, but they don't see anything around them. And surely, I mean, of course, sometimes that's a good thing, but you miss out on so much that's around you. You're not mindful, and that's something that I've had to learn. And I had to learn how to control my mind. And it's not easy, but it's a work in progress.
Amazing, man. And I mean, congratulations first off. I mean, I am sure it was very difficult. We had Alberto on right before your interview, and he spoke about how proud he was of you. So I remember the outpouring of support that you got when you admitted that you're going for help from everyone in the wrestling business. Someone else who's struggling right now is Jeff Hardy. Do you have any words of support or advice?
I don't know Jeff personally. I've never met him. As somebody who also struggles with alcohol myself, it's tough. It's hard, and I don't know his story, so I can't speak for him. That's another thing that occurs when, especially now with social media. Everybody seems to know everybody's story, even though they don't know the person personally. So they seem to have all the answers, and we don't, because I don't know his story. I don't know his struggles. I don't know what's going on in his head. I've never talked to him. I've never spent the time to get to know him. Um, but the one thing that I will say that I do understand is that battle with addiction, because I have struggled with mine, and it may have different names, but it's still the same war. And I hope he's getting the help that he needs, and ultimately, and I hope it doesn't come to a very strong moment in time that's gonna make him realize that he needs to change. Um, and I mean, also, something along the lines and I hope it doesn't get to this, obviously, something along the lines of, Sunny. I hope she gets better as well, and I wish him all the best. I really do.
Amazing. And I mean, staying on the topic of AEW, I mean, you were in the news last year when the whole tryout happened, and everybody was wondering what happened after that. Do you have an update?
No, to this day, I still haven't heard from anybody about it. I feel like it was something similar to what happens in WWE sometimes. If they're not interested, obviously, very rarely do you ever hear back from them. And that was something similar that happened here. I never heard back from anybody, so I just kind of went on my own way. But I was very happy with the other gentleman that got selected for the Spanish commentary, Alvaro Riojas. I'm very happy for him. He's such a great guy. I didn't know him prior, but I got to know him very well during that week that I spent with AEW, and I'm very happy for him. I know it was something that he was very proud of, and he was working hard for, and I'm happy for him. I really am. So, I mean, but who knows? I mean, I would definitely like to eventually try it again. And if given the opportunity, yeah, I would definitely jump on it.
So let me fantasy book, maybe say a run for you in AEW. Let me throw some names out there. Okay, first let me ask you this. If you had to manage anybody from the pro wrestling world, like you managed Alberto all the way to the top, who is that one person who comes to mind?
Right now, 100%. Well, let's go AEW first. Andrade, easily number one, Andrade. And then on SmackDown or Raw or WWE, I would say either Raquel Rodriguez, for obvious reasons. She could be my cousin, I don't know, my sister, I don't know, or Los Detarios, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Those would be my picks right now. I mean, I would love to work with Ray again. I would love to work with Ray, but he doesn't need me. Ray is Ray. Ray's one of a kind. So yeah. I gotta stick with my Latino brothers.
So we asked internally, and two other names came up. But all the names you mentioned did come up. Another name that came up was Thunder Rosa. A lot of people think that you and Thunder Rosa very interesting.
I know Thunder Rosa very well. I've known her for many years, before she became the big superstar that she is now, and I'm very happy for her. She was training with me in San Antonio, so I'm very proud to be part of her story. Even though, I mean, it was short, and she did come to me already trained. Yeah, I would definitely love to get connected with Thunder Rosa again. I feel like she's doing well wrestling wise. But yeah, she's on top of the world right now. So if she ever needed, I would definitely be there in an instant.
And speaking of being on top of the world, I mean, this was a very interesting pick that a lot of people threw out there. Brock Lesnar, he doesn't have a manager right now.
Oh man. I mean, hey, listen, it would be super hard to fill Paul Heyman's shoes. And I don't know if I'm always up for a challenge. I do love a good challenge, but that's a tough one, man. Like, I feel like what was it? who's the Greek god that had the wings and he flew too close to the sun and they
Pegasus.
melted?
No, not Pegasus.
It was
Icarus.
Icarus. Icarus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Icarus. Yeah, I don't want to fly too close to the sun on that one.
Right. So, I mean, you are always everywhere. Another AEW, staying on the topic of AEW, you were also a part of Sammy Guevara's blog in Egypt, and
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of people saw that. What do you
yeah.
think of everything he's been doing, and the pairing with Take on T and everything else?
I mean, it was great to have Sammy come over. It was great. I understand being in a foreign country, it can be difficult sometimes. I get that. I get that. One of the funniest parts for me was whenever we would take him out to eat, like he didn't want to. He didn't like a lot of the food, and I get it. It's different. I understand. But no, I had a great time with Sammy. I'm very happy he came over and he got to experience it, and that I was part of that we were part of the vlog. There was an unfortunate thing that happened with this. The flying thingy. What's it called? Shoot. This little machine that he flies with the camera.
The drone.
The drone. Yeah, he had an issue with the drone, and that's an unfortunate thing. But then when we talked to, because we tried to retrieve it, and then when we talked to police officers, they're like, "Yeah, you're not supposed to have that." And so I was like, "Well, how do you get it in?" And they're like, "I don't know." So that's an unfortunate thing. So sorry, Sammy. I apologize about that, man. There was nothing we could do with that, and I'm sorry, man.
What do you think of him as a talent?
Oh, he's great. He's super talented. And I've in the past in Texas, I only saw him and I talked to him briefly. I never got a chance to really get to know him that well. And then when we were just talking in Egypt, I realized he's a smart kid. He's a very smart kid. And the only word advice that I really said to him was like, take advantage of the agents that they have in AEW because they have such amazing minds. I hope he does. I believe he is smart enough to do so. Yeah, that's I'm happy for his success. His newfound romance, love with Takanti. I hope they have a great future together. But yeah, no, I'm super happy for Sammy. Super happy for Sammy. That dive off of the dive when he got thrown over by Eddie Kingston was brutal. And then obviously that cutter with Cody on the ladder, that's gonna live forever.
And that's the reason I bring it up, right? I mean, you are known for that dive, that fall through the table, and that painful spot that you spoke about the last time we spoke about. So many talents in AEW are doing stuff willingly or unwillingly that are absolutely insane, that blow your mind every time. They're visually spectacular. Do you think they need to go all the way?
There's a good and bad side to this coin, especially now with the age of social media and the age of the GIFs, the little files on Twitter. Everybody's working for, not everybody. Let me retract that. A lot of people are working for that spot to become viral, and they're always constantly trying to one up each other. The downfall to that, and I totally, I'm all for moments. I love the idea of building for moments because that's ultimately what gets remembered. But there's a whole lot that goes into it, not just, hey, let me just do this for the hell of it. There's build up, there's story, there's who's involved. There's been a lot of stuff that I've seen in the past are just incredible, amazing things, but nobody really remembers unless you really have to go dig for it on YouTube. So there's a lot more that goes into it. What I fear is that we're going to get to a point where people are going to do a lot of really dangerous things and then get hurt. And then for what? In front of 10 people, in front of 50 people for what? $50, if anything. And then chances are it's because there's going to be such a big abundance of crazy clips out there, they're just going to get lost in the shuffle. But then again, I mean, I'm a very big advocate of working for the moments, and because like I said, that's what got me into wrestling was that moment with Jeff Hardy and Edge. That's what got me into wrestling. So it's a double sided to the sword, really. But I just hope for the safety of people, because there's a lot of things that I've seen that in my head I'm just like, that was stupid, and for what? Well, why was that done? And then somebody comes out getting hurt, or it gets no reaction, which that's like the worst part. It gets no reaction because we're desensitizing the crowd to constantly expect crazy stuff instead of building something, that you do something crazy, something incredible, and the crowd just goes, huh, all right, that was all right. Next, who's next? What else you got? And then that's the only problem that I have with this constant trying to outdo each other, is that there's no build up, there's no story, there's no getting crowd engagement, and then they're just doing things to do things, and then the crowd is just kind of like sitting there, and then they don't react because they were already expecting something crazy, and then didn't meet their expectations, and then somebody gets hurt.
Okay, man. And so just to wind down, you are a busy man. You have a lot of dates coming up. Can you tell our viewers about it?
Yeah, I have a lot of dates here in Pennsylvania coming up, and the everything that we're going and working for right now is this huge major event that's on August 20th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at the Clipper Magazine Stadium. It's something we've been working on for a couple months, and we have a couple months more to 2 more months, a month already. Wow, a month to go. We're gonna have myself, Fandango, Santino Morella, Alberto El Patron, and the WWE Hall of Famer, Rob Van Dam. So I'm super excited to be a part of that. We have a lot of talent from the surrounding area here in Central Pennsylvania. So I'm super excited to bring in like the local talent that will be mixed in with a lot of wrestlers that they saw on TV, and to fill up a baseball stadium. That's gonna be super fun, and I'm super excited. And we have a whole lot more plans coming up. I'm eventually gonna open up my own school down the line. I'm working on that, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future holds.